Hello, this is Renee Beth Poindexter. Years ago, I helped a team of 12 to 13-year-olds launch a software business. They had been getting enough press for their outstanding innovative work in their self-designed learning environment that a utility company approached them and asked them to design and create a video game that would teach children how to manage the energy in their homes. And they were able to use that. The whole part of this game was that the youth would teach youth how to save money for their college education by being those energy managers, and that actually this would impact the growing concerns around climate change. This was in the early 90s. But just imagine at the ripe ages of 10 and 11, these kids had negotiated a $75,000 contract with the utility company, producing an outstanding product that exceeded the utility company's expectations. And they actually decided to sell the software they created to other utility companies. Well, the youth, they quickly delegated this project amongst themselves based on their unique strengths and talent and interests. They hired a project manager and collaborated across the domains of math and science and finance and art, communication, and so much more. The utility company saved a ton of money on this investment, and they actually opened a new opportunity for revenue and wanted to bring it to other parts of North America. And as a result, they generated a lot of customer loyalty. So the businesses, customers saved energy and the opportunity of saving money by doing the right thing for the environment was a really key part of the solution. These not even yet teenagers got paid to enjoy meaningful real world work experience that led to even more potential income and amazing resources, which generated amazing portfolios that actually supported the youth in having powerful resumes. It's pretty amazing what can happen when youth are actually allowed to create from their own passion. So the experience with these students actually seeded what has now become Living the Potential Network, which is a community of intergenerational learners and change makers who work on projects that matter, that are related to the issues that concern the youth the most. And it's related to creating a better world, to actually save the world. And we know the world needs saving. What are the issues that the youth are facing today? Well, we've seen it in the news prior to the pandemic. When school was in session, youth were actually facing a lot of bullying. We've seen the rise in suicides. We've seen a lot of gun violence, and the schools are trying to manage all this themselves. It's like, okay, is this really up to the schools to try to figure this all out? Or is it really something that educators and parents need to come together to figure this out and create new systems? What you witness the issues that the educators are facing, that they have to make sure that the test scores at a certain level, it's not really related to the topics that are relevant to the 21st century. The parents are facing, what are we going to do with our kids if they're not successful with the grades? And they're concerned about who their children are becoming when there's not a whole lot of time spent on let's just say, making meaning that matters to the learners who are actually the customer of education. So we've seen this issue happen for many, many years, and the pandemic has just brought it in even more for us to see, because now there's a hybrid type of schooling that's occurring. Businesses are facing issues today as well, because let's just face it, a lot of youth go through the whole system of education, they retire, they graduate with a lot of debt. But when they get done, there was a lot of job hopping. And again, as a result of business going through a big reset, many of these youth that are out there interviewing with companies aren't finding the right fit. So right now, companies are really pretty much complaining that they can't get enough workers to do the work that needs to be done for their business model. And let's face it, business, education, we all need to be looking at how do we reset who we are becoming as a species in the midst of climate change, and in the midst of the pandemic, in the midst of the social injustice and what's been happening, there's a demand for solutions in these areas. So our solution, was what if we could create an organic learning model for life that would bring learners together of different ages to support what is important to learn, like learning to become who we're meant to be. And that first step is trusting the seeds of change. And actually, our youth have more access to that because they're not afraid to ask the questions. It allows them to discover and find out from the inside out what's important, who they are, where they want to go. The second step is once you understand those key elements of yourself, your strengths, your talent, your key personality, focus, and so forth, you want to start to cultivate fertile learning spaces, learning environments where you can actually start to cultivate your true intention that could actually come into a prototype in a project. This then leads to the third step is cross-pollinating, like who else cares about the issue that you want to solve? And this is where a lot of mentoring and support across the domain start to occur. That leads to the fourth step about how do we create sustainability with regenerative systems for the social change. So that's our fourth step. And then the fifth step is what does technology have to do with it? And what if there was a higher purpose to technology? I call it the soul of technology. Technology is not meant to replace us. It's meant to engage us and deepen our capacity to deliver what only each and every one of us are here to be and do. So the benefits and outcomes of this program is what I've discovered is that we've found that grandparents and parents and educators, teachers, administrators, entrepreneurs, and businesses have found an opportunity to talk about projects that are important to them and what the youth really want to accomplish. We have a youth advisory group right now that's helping grow the youth leadership within Living the Potential Network. It goes beyond cities and states, it's global, and it's really focusing on the issues they care most about, and then what are the projects that we can bring about. A lot of them are really interested in addressing the mental health issues, how to address the opportunity for people to become whole and healthy, understanding who they are and their connection to themselves, to each other, and actually to our natural world, and what does nature have to teach us. It's a fabulous interchange to see what unfolds. And then we set up amazing podcasts and podlucks where people can actually learn and grow together and figure out how they can actually integrate some of these tools into their families, into their businesses, into their classrooms, and for parents who are wanting to create their own micro schools. I mean, we're trying to be a solution to support a lot of the changes that are happening. We've got a pretty fabulous Facebook page, Living the Potential, and we've got Instagram and LinkedIn. It would be wonderful to have you subscribe to our Bridging the Potential podcast. This is a place where it's true reciprocal learning happening at its best. We actually have our youth choose a mentor of their choice related to a project that they are concerned that they care most about. And we spend 45 minutes to an hour with a reciprocal conversation. And you can find those podcasts at livingthepotential.com. It's also on Amazon, Spotify, YouTube. They're out there. So we're doing something uniquely different. So what happens when you become a member of Living the Potential Network, you actually embark on a life-altering journey of connection, an opportunity to actually network with mentors and change makers of all ages who deliver, amazing insight. And really what we've noticed is that wisdom knows no age. It's out of the mouths of babes that actually help shift people into an awareness of what's possible. Actually, then we start to clarify. We actually start to deepen our self-knowledge and self-trust. And we learn how to leverage these strengths and work effectively with others as we articulate what our key offerings are to actually be part of the positive change we'd like to see the world become. the best way to change the world is to become our best selves and bring that through relationship to each other, to the causes we're most interested in. So that's where the collaboration happens. We have a mastermind process where people actually can expand their ideas and help each other and actually start to feel that each person's unique capacity actually can support and contribute to making the world a better place. That's why we call ourselves the change makers. We're about connecting, clarifying, and collaborating. We'd love to have you join us as intergenerational community. As you're listening to this, you may say, well, that sounds really interesting. Maybe I could offer something. And I ask you, what is it that's your primary key gift, talent, or experience? Perhaps you're a mentor. You could become a mentor. We'd love to hear from you. We've got lots of tools and resources that actually help people learn to bridge the gap, because quite honestly, youth are looking for those leaders that they can learn from, but they're a little hard to find because of our past system that had kind of barriers to entry, shall we say. Our youth are interested in learning sooner rather than later, how they can unleash their potential and align with people and companies and organizations that want to support their success, but at the same time, the growth of their own business. And we consider ourselves kind of a matchmaker on how that happens. So you actually, when you come and become a member, you can share your voice and your wisdom, and you can actually be a part of helping us lead systemic change. I don't feel the schools can change on their own. It requires a partnership between business and education. Parents have a huge, huge opportunity to be supported with their youth. And Living the Potential is bridging those gaps in many ways. So please consider your opportunity here to become a member of our community. And I look forward to telling you a little bit more about it in my next video. Thanks so much for listening and checking us out, Living the Potential Network. We are an intergenerational community that wants to live our potential, live the potential, which brings us all together and change the world. Thank you so much.